So you might be a player who releases the club early in the downswing or casts the golf club, which can also cause some complications in strikes, some thins or some fat shots where you hit a little bit behind the ball and producing some high, weak ball flights as well. If that's you, then this video is really going to help, so let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Danny Malcolm, and today I'm going to talk you through how to eliminate that casting or that early release in the downswing that plagues so many of us golfers. So firstly, what is casting? Well, in the backswing, what we normally like to see, or from the professional golfer, is when they swing to the top of the swing, they'll create this angle between the golf club and the forearm. And when we start the downswing, we'd actually like to reduce that angle as we start the downswing to create that lag, and it's a real big source of power in the golf swing. So what casting is essentially when we lose those angles and the club works out this way. So that's what we call it, early release, or casting, almost like you're throwing a fishing rod. And then from there you can see that can also lead to scooping, some poor strikes, chicken winging, and a whole host of other issues throughout the swing. So, I mean, the big one with this casting is it actually tends to cause some real strike issues with the irons in particular, whereby we actually get to impact with a little bit of the shaft actually leaning backwards. That increases the loft on the club face, that increases the spin. It also weakens the ball flight. So it's a big source of losing power and good quality ball striking. Where we'd like to be in an ideal world when we get to impact is having more of a shaft that's leaning slightly forward. This is with your irons, and it's actually reducing or de-lofting the golf club as well, so you get that nice penetrating ball flight along with that nice ball turf contact as well, which we're all looking for with our iron play. So that's pretty much what casting is. Now, there's a multitude of things that can cause it, but I'll run you through some key points today that I feel tends to lead to casting or that early release, and a few drills, simple tips that you can apply straight away on the range to try and eliminate that casting. Okay, so firstly, what I tend to see in the backswing, and a bit of a cause for that casting, is club face issues. So what I mean by that is generally a player who casts it will often have a club face that's open at the top of their swing. So open can generally mean hanging more in this sort of direction, pointing more down to the ground, as opposed to being a little bit more matching your forearm, or even pointing a bit more to the sky. What tends to happen when you have a weak or open club face from here is there's really no incentive to actually create that lag or to really maintain those nice angles in the downswing. Because in an effort then to square this club face up, what we have to do is throw the club to square that club face up and get the ball started on line. And you can see what that tends to then cause through impact, that early release, that scooping, chicken winging, and a whole host of other issues. So I'll show you from this side. So when the club face is generally open, for whatever reason that may be, we'll then start the downswing, and then we've got to release the club early in an effort to square the club face up. Because if we don't, and we maintain those nice angles with that open club face, what's going to happen is when I get to impact, now look where that club face is aiming, way over to the right. So you're going to get shots going way over to the right. So having that club face in the not ideal position to start with can be a big cause or contributing factor to that casting. So first thing I'd like to do is just check where your club face is. So the opposite, if you get a stronger club face, which you can do numerous ways, which I won't go into in today's video, but if you get a better or a stronger club face at the top of the swing, now you've got incentive, now you've got reason to maintain these lovely angles and get the club dropping on a nice path here, getting that face in place, and then we can really just turn on through with that lovely shaft lean. So I'll show you from this view. So now we've got a stronger club face at the top of the swing. now I've got incentive or reason to maintain this lovely angle here, or even increase it in the downswing and get that forward shaft lean and impact. Because the only way I can square that club face up now and start the ball on line is by keeping the handle forward. Because if I was to, with that strong face, have my hands back, now you can see that that club face is actually aiming left, so you're going to get some big hooks to the left. So that's why you won't see many golfers who have a strong hook pattern or strong draw bias in their swing. You won't see many of those golfers that actually cast or early release the golf club, because they've had to figure out how to hit the ball straight with that stronger club face. And to do that, they have to maintain those lovely angles, and that's why they get those nice low penetrating ball flights and often strike the ball really well, but just goes a bit low and left sometimes as well. So that's just what I wanted to touch on to start with. First, check your club face, and then from there, once that's in a good position, you can then start to incorporate these next few drills. Okay, so let's get into how to correct that casting or that early release. So first, we need to have good sequencing of your golf swing. So what I mean by that is, when we get to the top of the swing, the order in which we start the downswing or transition into the downswing is going to be from the ground up. So ideally, we'd like to see a good, powerful shift with that lower body to start with. So the lower body goes first, then the chest, then the shoulders, then your lead arm, then the wrist, and then the golf club in that order. So that's the most efficient way to create power in the golf swing. So just ensuring that you've got good sequencing first, that you can get that lower body to start the downswing. That's really going to help you to be in a position in which you can create lag coupled with that nice club face position. But second to that is also going to be working on impact itself and feeling where you need to be at impact in order to create those feels without getting too technical in your golf swing. So a couple of things you can do there is quite simply just doing some impact drills. So what I love to do is just set yourself up in an impact position where you'd like to ideally be. So this is one of my favorite drills. So if you set up here, take your normal setup with an iron, and from here, just get yourself bumping that lower body across slightly, a little bit of hip rotation, but most importantly is getting that nice little bit of shaft lean here at address. So this is where we'd like to be at the moment of impact. So you've got a nice bit of shaft lean, the club face is de-lofted slightly, and that's going to give you that nice penetrating ball flight, which is what we like. So if we set up into that position, just like this, hips bump across, slightly open, shaft leaning forward, and from here, what I absolutely love to do is just then preset impact. So from here, we're just going to create those angles right there. And what you notice when I do that is I've also got the club face pretty much matching the angle of my spine. So this is a way that I know the face is in a good position. If it was here, that's not ideal. If it's there, it's probably a bit too much. So this is a pretty good position to practice from, because that incentivizes you to get that good shaft lean through impact. So from this view here, if you preset impact, so hips bump across, slightly open with the hips, shaft leaning forward slightly. From here, we're just going to preset that golf club and preset those angles with the hands directly over the golf ball. So when you set this up, I don't want you to do it from back here. Set it up just with your hands over the golf ball. And to do this, you just need to be sure you've got good wrist mobility to start with, good range of motion in your shoulders, and that's really going to help you to get into this position. And then once you've got that set up, you can just go ahead and chip some down the fairway. So preset impact, shaft leaning forward, preset, and then you can just turn to about hip height, and then we're going to turn through and just chip it there down the fairway. And what you'll be trying to do there is, we're not particularly trying to hold on to any angles, but you're just trying to create that nice bit of lag, that nice ball turf contact. We'll do that again from here. Shaft leaning forward, presetting the golf club, and from here you're just going to turn back to about hip height and then just chip it through, and you'll just see that when you finish on your follow through here, you'll have that nice angles between the club and your arm, and that'll ensure that you're getting a nice downward strike on the ball and de-lofting the club nicely to get a nice penetrating flight as well.